So yeah, I think that wraps up topic one. So we're gonna move on to topic two. Kris, what is your topic today?
I'm sorry, say that one more time for me.
Yeah, what is your topic today? Moving on to
Oh,
topic
my
two.
topic today. Yeah, yeah, gotcha. So, my topic today is the sport of disc golf.
Okay.
I wanted to kind of, if I have the opportunity, to spread some awareness. We're always trying to bring new people into the sport. It's something that during the pandemic blossomed.
Hmm.
The level of participation from people of all ages has surged. The production of discs can't keep up with the demand.
Wow. Okay.
And during the shutdowns, when people couldn't go out into the shopping malls and restaurants and things, one of the few things you're able to do was go out to the parks, and the majority of disc golf courses are on public parks. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really inexpensive sport to participate in, or it could be as expensive as you want it to be.
Just like anything.
There's a collector's market, and there's definitely some discs that cost a little bit more than others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, it's a wonderful sport. It kind of gamifies nature. And I know right now in our gaming bubble, being physically fit is has become kind of our awareness has been heightened to it. And so I noticed, especially a lot of the streamers that I watch, and YouTubers that I frequent their channels, they are discussing physical health because it's important.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about mental health as well, but a lot of us live a sedentary lifestyle. Like myself, I was behind a desk for a long time, way too long. Game, just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not a good thing. So getting out into nature, and you end up putting in 3, 4, 5 miles without realizing it, because you're playing this really engaging game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really captivating to see the disc, the flight of the disc, kind of going in the air, and like regular golf, each disc has its own intended purpose. So like you
Oh.
have clubs in a bag. I carry about 22 or so discs, and each disc flies a bit differently.
Wow. Okay.
And so, depending on where you are, some courses are open, some courses are tight and heavily wooded. You'll need an instrument to for that moment, and so it mirrors golf in a lot of ways. But again, it's really approachable. And so yeah, and so kind of going along with that, I'm actually opening up a disc golf store. That's part of my moving back to Twin, Washington. I had lived there for 14 years prior, and my experiences through the pandemic really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things, especially in the professional world, where there's a lot of old adages about all of us being replaceable. So
Mm.
I wanted to do something that was engaging to me, gave me an opportunity to chase a dream, and was also pandemic proof.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, obviously now with this happening, we don't know what the future holds. And so if we're allowed to go out and throw discs, even during a pandemic, that sounds like a business that might be kind of worth looking into. So that's what my family and I are doing. We're starting a family business around disc golf, and I encourage everybody and anybody to go out and give it a try. Little kids, if my 4-year-old goes out and throws with us,
Mm-hmm.
good opportunity to take the dog out for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
My 13-year-old playing. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to hit me up on all my social media. I love talking about it. So
Nice. Very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. That's an exciting adventure. All right, so I'm going to ask some questions now because I don't know much about disc golf at all.
All right, good.
I think if I recall, we might have had one time in gym class. We might have played, obviously not with like the normal cage hoop things or whatever, but it was just like, here's a frisbee. All right, you're gonna try and, or not a frisbee. Here's a hula hoop. You're gonna try and eventually get to that point, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So with it, you said it's essentially golf, just obviously with the frisbees and the discs. Is that true? Just simply as that, or
Yeah,
does
yeah.
it?
There's a basket,
Uh-huh.
and so that would be your hole if we're comparing it to traditional golf, and it's obviously distance appropriate to how you can throw.
Mhm.
Professional courses are insanely huge. Those guys can throw a disc in a mile. It's
Mhm. Dang.
amazing. But it definitely mimics golf in a lot of ways. A matter of fact, my hometown is Stockton, California. I'm not exactly sure when this will go on your YouTube channel, but for those watching us now, this coming next weekend, There's a huge one of the Pro Tour events is in my hometown of Stockton.
Cool.
And it actually takes place on a ball golf course.
Okay.
This particular course allows for both to be played, and so they have access to the carts and the snacks, and it's very similar, and it's a lot of fun. It's a neat environment to play in. Or where I'm living now, even I have a course 5 minutes from here, but there'll be one nearby where I'm moving to as well. That's just in the woods. You're just out in the woods.
Uh-huh.
Hope for no wildlife larger than you are.
There you go.
It varies.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I've only seen one course. We have one. There's a park, maybe a couple miles down the road that we've gone around to do some hikes, or there's some basic trails. And there's one that walks past one of the baskets and stuff. I'm like, oh, never knew this was here. I don't know where the rest of the course eventually leads, but I'm just like, that was random. Just seeing that out of nowhere. But cool. So this is a probably very dumb question. You mentioned obviously the numerous amount of discs that you can have that are for the different skill sets or throws that you need to be able to make. Is it just like golf where you like put a marker down and then you switch the disc you're using per shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a very like a miniature disc that they use as a marker.
Okay.
And you'll place that disc right at the front of the placement of the disc that it landed.
Okay.
And at that point, you can pick your disc up, pull another one out of the bag, and so you're not locked into using like one disc per hole.
Okay. Yeah.
And so yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Crap, I had something and I lost it. Oh, okay. Another dumb question. Team game, individual game? Both. Okay.
Both.
Cool.
So in terms of professionally, like when you watch Pro Tour stuff, they typically do, singles.
Uh-huh.
Occasionally they'll have, gimmick games where they'll play doubles, but locally, like at your local course, typically they'll have a day of the week committed to singles, and then they'll have another day of the week committed to doubles.
Okay.
And so some of those you can either bring a partner, or they'll do what they call random doubles. So just like it sounds, you'll just get partnered up with someone at random. It's a really cool way to get involved in the community, meet people you wouldn't meet otherwise.
Right.
It's been really difficult to do with COVID, especially, but with things beginning to kind of open up, and especially in regards to being outdoors and open spaces. I'm looking forward to kind of getting out there, and it's fun to play in a group, and people are really supportive. It's competitive, but at the same time, everyone on your card is also rooting for you to kick the course's butt. It's like us against the course kind of thing, and so it's a really neat culture as far as being competitive, but also everyone being really, really kind to one another. Great community. It mimics the video games community in a lot of ways, which is really neat to see.
Cool. So you mentioned the flatter courses where it's just, the open space, and then you mentioned that there's wooded courses. For the wooded courses, or, there's a lot around. Is it an objective to use, like, I don't know if you can bank shot off of trees, or like, are you using the environment to your advantage? Or is it just absolutely, it gets nuts?
You get the disc to where you want it to go by any means necessary.
Okay, and cool.
So there's different throws. Hang on one
second. Yeah. Man, that's kind of cool.
Why I have one in my kitchen, it doesn't matter. But I have one in my So you can actually, you can throw it the traditional way that people are typically would associate throwing a frisbee.
Yep.
There's like ultimate, they do a lot of forehands,
yep,
or sidearms, you'd call them. So that's in play as well. My son likes to throw a lot of these thumbers.
Okay.
You just lock in your thumb here.
Oh, like an overhand
and
almost.
You throw it overhand.
Yeah.
like a baseball throw.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can flip it and make the same throw.
Okay.
Fingers on the bottom of the flight plate as well. But you can put it at any angle that you need to.
Okay.
So whatever you got to do. If you got to throw it up over the trees, if you got to throw it really low.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people will throw skip shots. So you throw it really low and let it just kind of skip and head toward where it needs to go. Absolutely.
Wow.
It's really creative in that way too. So it's it adds to the fun, because you're not just swinging a club. I'm not dissing golf, because
right,
I enjoy regular golf too, but it's just there's a lot more creativity, I feel like.
Yeah, that sounds nuts. I think I'd be more intrigued watching that all happen, because I'd be like, I know me, I'd be like, and it just drop off the tree or whatever.
So tomorrow on YouTube, there will be a Disc Golf Pro Tour event aired
Okay.
live on YouTube.
Ooh, okay.
And typically they have it on a Disc Golf Pro Tour site, and there's a paywall. But tomorrow it's free on YouTube. So I would, Google that and take a look. If
Sure.
I can find the information and get it to you after we're done here if you want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But it's worth a look, man. It's you just see the things that they do, and you're like, I don't know how. I don't get it.
Stop being Captain America. Stop. What are we doing here? Stop.
And that's such a perfect association too, because when you line up a shot and you're like, you make a plan, you're like, I think if I do this and the wind's doing this, and you go through all of that, and it actually goes from point A to point B the way that you intended for it.
Yeah.
You feel like a superhero.
Right. Jeez.
1,000%. You're exactly like that.
It's nuts. Let's see. Papa Griff's got another one. He says, as someone who follows the PGA Tour fairly regularly, what is the yardage of a typical disc golf course, and how much is a set of discs go for?
Okay, so it kind of varies because different courses are, they cater to different skill sets. So the holes, I'll say for the average, will be from between like 270 feet in distance to 600 feet in distance.
Okay.
This weekend, I have an older brother who's incredibly skilled. He's playing in a large tournament down in California, and there's holes there that are 800 to 1,000 feet long.
Wow.
And so then you're getting into more like, you're talking about a 300 yard, that gets more akin to like ball golf, where the ball travels a bit further than a disc would. But there, it's not unfathomable. I mean, I see the pro guys out there, they can throw a disc, 500-600 feet.
Dang.
It's, again, I cannot. My personal best is about 370.
Okay.
But and even then, it takes a lot of scrutiny and work to get there. But like, there's guys that I see, teenage kids especially, that are just getting into it. They have a baseball background, and they'll step up and they just have that build.
Yeah.
They just wing it, and I'm like, okay, so I've been at this for years. This is not fair. But, yeah.
Nice.
So sorry, his second question was about the sets of discs.
Yes.
So you can get a beginner set online for roughly $30.
Oh, okay.
And that's for a base plastic, which will wear and tear a bit quicker. Or if you want to, get stuff that's going to be a bit more durable, then the discs themselves can range from 15 to 20 for the more premium plastic stuff. And again, if the disc is tied to a specific pro, or there's just a demand for it, then that can go up from there as well. But I've never paid more than $40 for a disc, and it was because either it was a really rare disc. So like, there's certain ones, once you learn how to throw, a disc, you find ones that suit your throwing style. And so once you find those, if you lose that disc, you're not in good shape. So you buy a bunch of backups. And so I've spent quite a bit on backups of certain types of discs, but by and large, they're typically around $15, I guess, $20.
Okay. Cool. So with the store that you're going to be running, what's the I mean, obviously the goal is to be profitable and be a good business, but like, what's your projection for that? What are you aiming to do with the store?
Well, so yeah, I mean, when I'm a business major,
okay.
So I got my Bachelor of Science in business in 2018, and one of the things that you definitely learn is that you have to be solving a problem. And the problem particularly in the area I'm moving to, is that there are two of the highest rated courses in the entire state.
Okay.
Within 20 minutes of either driving direction, and there's no store in the area to support them. And so they have to buy their discs online. And because there aren't enough discs being manufactured to meet the demand, it's really hard to get your hands on them. So if you have a mom and pop, store in the area, then the likelihood that they'll be shipped some means that you'll have some available to you. So,
right.
I'll be solving that problem. I'll be, getting discs, available to people in the area. but also trying to grow the sport. The area is predominantly retirees, but there's a lot more young families moving to the area. There's there is a thriving young community. My son's got a ton of friends. I've coached football in that town for years and years. And so the ones that kind of don't fall in line with traditional sports, in that kind of rural setting, they end up kind of getting themselves into trouble. So it provides another avenue for them to, participate in something that isn't your traditional sport that commands that you conform to a certain standard, like
Right.
I'm talking about like football, that kind of thing. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up playing football, and I get it. It's not appealing to everyone. And disc golf is an incredibly laid back sport. You just come and you can just be yourself, and no one's there. Any preconceived notions, just throw the plastic and we're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm trying to begin kind of like that groundswell of enthusiasm for the sport in the area, because there's already a thriving community there, and it's completely untapped still.
Right.
So the opportunity there, the potential there is great. So kind of step one is, have a brick and mortar, let them come and touch discs and buy discs, provide a space for them to talk about the sport. I want to create a grassroots program where I'm holding tournaments weekly for newcomers, people that have never competed before, people that are brand new to the sport. And we can divide them up into age groups, that kind of thing, so it's fair competition. But create a pathway for people that have never really participated to kind of come in and really get brought up to speed quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I've been fortunate to network with a couple of professional disc golfers that are local to the Washington area.
Perfect.
So, I like to bring them in and do some instruction, that kind of thing. And once I kind of begin that grassroots kind of, right from the community that I'm in, I want to kind of step out, and above a bit further. I do also plan on having a website, so that way I can sell things, in the e-commerce space.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to reach, to that next plateau, and that's, advertising, beyond the region, getting out to pro tour events, buying ad space in these large events, and just kind of trying to become more of a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my art background really kind of comes into play here, because I want to create apparel. Disc golf is a culture that doesn't really have a lot of its own stuff yet. Like we're gamers. I've been a gamer my whole life. If I want a video games related hat, shirt, belt, shoes, whatever, I can get head to toe fitted in things that reference some video game thing that I love.
Right.
And in disc golf, we don't really have that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really kind of the perfect time for someone like myself that has that entrepreneurial spirit to kind of step in and leverage that skill, and yeah, so that's kind of the plan so far. I'm really lucky that because of the situation that I was in, the state of Washington is actually helping connect me with. I'm working with a group there called the Centers for Inclusive Entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And they're a consultant group that actually walks you step by step through the process to make sure you have everything in line, and then they help kind of coach you through those beginning phases of opening your business. So
cool.
Starting your own business can be scary, which it absolutely is.
Yeah.
But my previous career as a nursing home administrator, I'm running a business there. I'm running a skilled nursing facility,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the executive director of the building. So I was already running a business for someone else.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, let's do it for me.
Right.
Let's get out and do it. And so, yeah. So we're gonna take a chance.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds like a great opportunity. Like you said, there's the courses there. Nobody's obviously taking advantage of it locally. Why not just fill that, like you said, solve that problem that's there. So that's awesome, man. Sounds
Right.
like you got a great plan and you know what you're going for. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Papa Griff's got a lot of questions. Good, because I'm like, let's see. He says, when I used to play golf, the courses would insist on having a full set of clubs to play, or you'd have to rent a set. Is there any similar requirement for disc golf?
No, there's actually no requirement. If you want to go out there and take just your putter, you can do that. If you want to take, again, more than 22, you're welcome to do that. I know in competitive play, I don't think they have a limit. I just think you have to be able to carry them on you, so you can't.
Okay.
So it's whatever you can pack in your bag, you can take with you. I do see a lot of like casual players that they're not out there analyzing every shot. They're just out there to get some exercise and have a great time, which is, I mean, perfect. And they'll have a small like shoulder bag that almost looks like one of those cloth lunch sacks.
Okay.
And they'll have a half a dozen discs in there, and just enough to do the 3-4 main types of throws, and that's enough for them to get by. So by no means are you obligated. You can compete that way as well. So you're not obligated to have a ton of discs just to start out with.
Mm-hmm.
A starter set you can get, it only has 3. It has a putter, it's got a driver, and it's got a mid-range, and those are your basic 3, and that's it's really all you need to kind of get acquainted.
Cool. All right.
Good question.
Yeah,
Griff.
definitely. Cool. I hope disc players stay cool. Some course pros were pretty questionable, especially the dudes who stunk like me. They weren't very welcoming. Oh, like on the course, you mean when you went out? Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, from what it sounds like,
the cultures of the two sports are vastly different.
Mm.
They really are. I mean, I've done both, and I'll say the disc golfers are a bit more forgiving.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So I guess last question I have. So you've obviously mentioned the store. I assume with discs they're like very customizable, almost like a bowling ball in a way. How you get all these color designs, etc. Is there any plans to maybe put your art and the discs together? Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And I mean, that is kind of the grand scheme. I've been working off and on actually with a local shop in the area I'm living to do some custom stamps for them.
Okay.
And the owner of that shop has been a mentor to me through this process, and he's investing in a stamp machine.
Okay.
And so that like permanently fixes the design. So I guess this is a good example again. So you have the color part that's dyed into the plastic.
Okay.
And so that's never coming out. But then you have the name, and this stuff, and that's put on with a really expensive stamping machine.
Okay.
You can't put stickers on your disc. For some reason, there's a lot of rules about that.
Okay.
So if you want a design, you either have to dye the design onto the disc, which is a bit of a process, and I've done that, and it's doable. You can put cool characters on a disc, and then, or you can use that stamp machine. And so he's got a stamp machine, and I got the artwork, and so we're going to try to work collaboratively on that. And then we've also recently learned that there's a segment of the discs that are manufactured that are only manufactured by one company.
Okay.
And so I'm hoping, and this is definitely later planning down the line, that we could actually put out our own line of discs as well, and it would all feature my artwork, or I kind of have this other dream of commissioning artists that are from the video game space. So we, there's a lot of overlap. I've noticed on my Twitter that there's a lot of gamers at disc golf.
There you go.
There's a lot of us. It's crazy. I didn't realize that. I kind of felt like I was out on an island, and then all of a sudden I see, like people referencing disc golf. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so I would like to kind of take advantage of that overlap and put out an entire line of discs, and all the discs are named after some video game trope. That kind of a thing, and really kind of take those kind of designs, pixel art, that kind of stuff, put it on disc golf merch, put it on shirts and hats, put it on discs, that kind of thing. So yes, definitely, to answer your question, that's a dream for sure. That's part of it.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome. Like I said, seems like you got the plan ready to go, and very excited to see how that goes.
We're working on it.
Oh, okay. Here's one. Do you have a name for the business yet?
So I do. We're going to be stationed out of Sequim, Washington, and when I said it was almost the furthest northwest part of the country that you could go to, from the beach nearby my house, you can see Canada.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so we're on the North Coast, and so I'm calling it North Coast Disc Golf.
There we go. Simple, but it works.
Make it roll off the tongue.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool, Kris. Well, I wish you nothing but the best for that. I will definitely be following you on social media. I want to know what's going on with this. I'm excited to check out the thing on YouTube tomorrow and see how crazy this all is. So very cool,
Yes.
man. Very cool. Thank you for sharing all that info and obviously your plans for the store. It's great, man. Very cool.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Podcasting is something that I really want to do more of. I got the microphone and the camera, and I got the tools, and so I got to set myself up a little space when we get moved into the other house. But it's definitely something I want to do more of. So
Cool.
anytime you need somebody, or if you know any others that are looking for a guest, whether art related or not, I can talk about whatever. Let's do it.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.